The official weather forecast for Dublin on 98 FM with Arkle Premium Cider. Experience the crisp and refreshing taste. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Sunny spells today and mostly dry apart from a few scattered showers. Top temperatures of 20 degrees. Right now it's 15. 98 FM's Big Breakfast with Cooper and Luke back tomorrow morning from 6 only on 98 FM.
Stay there for 1 second. I have a question to ask you. Don't go away.
Okay.
The following show is controversial and contains content you may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. 98 FM.
This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
It is Thursday morning, the 3rd day of August 2017. Good morning, Dublin. How are you today? My name is Adrian Kennedy, and this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. We're here until midday today. We've a lot of stuff to get through between now and 12 o'clock, including something that has annoyed an awful lot of people. And it is something that could act as a prevention towards child abuse. What am I talking about? You have to listen to the programme. Stay listening. Some people are getting the wrong end of the stick on this thing. We've put it up on Facebook and there's murder on Facebook, probably because a lot of people aren't getting the concept of this. I'm going to be talking to an expert in this field that is going to explain to us how a child doll could act as a preventative measure to prevent child abuse. We'll deal with that a little bit later on. And much more besides. Between now and midday today, this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy. That man there is Jeremy Dixon.
And we've enlisted the help because we're both men, as you know, striking men, if you will, virile men. And
whatever.
For the first conversation that we're having, something that appeared in the news today, we decided to enlist the help of Adrian from our news department and Darren, who are both female and will give a female perspective on the story, because we're actually both men, as you know, so sometimes we require a female opinion because
no better woman,
because female opinions often differ from that of male opinions. That's what makes us beautiful. Is that women are from...
Where are you going with this, Jeremy?
Where are you going with this? I'll tell you where he's going with this. An article in one of the newspapers today. Is it ever acceptable to hug a work colleague?
Of the opposite sex?
Well, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Or actually, of any sex. Really?
Well, no, why would
Darren, if I get up out of my seat and I come over and give you a hug...
Come here to me.
Oh, he probably would, actually. He doesn't get any... he gets no affection at all.
His own missus won't even hug him.
Your missus does.
So, Dino, a male work colleague gives you a hug, yes or no?
Why are they giving me the hug?
You see, there we go. We have to question it. There's no need to question it.
No, of course there's context is everything.
No.
Has this person been away? Have they had a baby and they've been on paternity leave and they've come back to work? Am I congratulating them?
No, I just want to give
you... Or
you...
are they like a creepy person?
What if I wanted to give you a hug now?
Well, believe it or not, a poll has showed that only 33% of people believe that hugging clients or colleagues is ever acceptable.
The word "ever" there is the key bit. I'm not really a fan of hugging colleagues.
Okay, so would it be okay for me? Would it be okay for me to just shake hands with you?
Why are you shaking hands?
That's
I
weird.
want to know why.
Why do you want to know? No, but why?
I saw you yesterday. Why are you shaking my hand? That'd be weird.
Oh my God, this woman is emotionally devoid. You know me around you've worked with me in the office. I'm a hugger. Hugging is what I like to do. I think sometimes I look at a person and I go, yeah, that person might need a hug. And I regularly...
this is where I draw the line with you.
Who do you hug? I've never seen him hug anyone.
No,
I do, yeah.
Earlier on, I said to him, we've colleagues up on the next floor here, and I said, would you go over and hug that girl? Yeah, no problem. No, he didn't. Why didn't you actually?
Why?
She then got creeped out because
she was in the middle of a conversation. So,
but he was going to get up out of his seat and just go over and give her a hug for no apparent reason. That'd be very inappropriate.
That'd be like the time you asked that girl on the street about her perfume, and she thought you were weirdo,
totally
and
weird.
You couldn't believe it.
No, it's not. A hug is not a sexual thing. First of all, it's. You know, I've.
No, it's not unless it's your partner, and then sometimes.
You see, okay, here's the difference. Is that
what hugs lead to?
No, here's my theory on it.
Yeah.
Yep. In the workplace and amongst work colleagues, handshakes are the way to go.
Yep. No.
And
too formal.
Yeah, it is too formal. Yeah.
Hello, Jeremy. Good to see you today. Hello, sir.
Nice handshake there.
Yes, hello, sir.
Well, hang on. So, Darren, if you came home from, say, 2 weeks holidays and I go over to you, how are you, Darren? Great to see you. And I start giving you a hug, you'd think, freak.
No, I'd be like, Adrian's happy to see me again.
But Adrian, by her very admission there at the start, says she is not a huggable person. You don't hugs. No, you
That's different.
No, but
being huggable and not liking hugs are different.
No, I definitely do hugs, but not really at work. But you know, if there's a context for it and it's not weird, you coming up to me and hugging me out of nowhere, that'd be weird.
Why though? We know each other. We know each other over 10 years. I think we have a relationship, a rapport together.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
And
don't overstep that boundary.
Yeah.
Is that what? Wow.
Have you ever hugged in the 10 years you've worked together?
Terrified to hug her.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrified.
I'd sprout spines.
Yeah.
So no is the answer. It's not appropriate.
Now that I'm looking at Adrian, I want to give her
Get
a hug.
away from me, Jeremy.
No, but it's in no way. I don't find you attractive, and you don't find me
Isn't that
attractive.
an awful thing
There
to say?
are work boundaries.
And you're breaking all
No,
of
but
them.
what I'm saying is by it's not an attraction thing because neither of us are
There
attracted.
are work boundaries.
I don't think so.
No, there are. That's the conversation. There are work boundaries.
I think work would
you
be...
You need to know where to... I mean, I've had this conversation with you on many occasions, going out for lunches with female work colleagues and all that. Totally inappropriate.
Really?
Texting them on WhatsApp groups, yeah.
Adrian.
Adrian,
Yeah.
come on.
No.
You're making out that...
Okay, sending...
You're making out that I'm like
Okay,
Larry Murphy,
hang on, okay,
Murphy in 90 FM.
okay.
I went there for lunch with the woman.
Sending X's in messages to work colleagues who are female.
Oh, that's
totally
weird.
inappropriate.
Yeah, that
do
is
that.
weird.
Sorry,
Yeah.
totally inappropriate.
Yes.
Really?
Kiss, no,
Yeah.
not normal. You should only send kisses to your partner.
Yeah,
Otherwise
but
it's
see, I
weird.
grew up in a house that was very demonstrative, and we were very open with our feelings and our emotions, and
Yeah,
you know,
but keep that to your private relationships.
like you have the emotion of a rock, Adrian.
No.
By the sound. Like,
Anyway, the bottom line is, don't hug Dino, okay?
Exactly.
okay, what happens if I hug you now?
Dixon, get off
Go on,
me.
try it.
HR.
Get up and do
See,
it.
here's the thing, okay? She's saying now, "Oh, don't hug me. I find you repulsive and all that." If I was like,
She's not saying that at all.
if I was George Clooney, she'd be all over that.
No,
Let me just, you
no,
would.
no. If she was working with George, no.
Yeah, exactly.
There you are.
Okay,
Alright.
supposing, 18, you had a bad day yesterday, okay, and you're feeling a bit, and I could see it in your face, you're feeling a bit, oh God. Would a hug not solve all that?
No, do you know what would solve that? Run out and get me a coffee, Jeremy, would you? I've had a bad day.
There you go.
A hug from you wouldn't make anyone happy.
You all
Doesn't
have
even
to
make your missus happy, can I
No,
just tell you?
she repulses her. You all have the emotions of stones.
No,
like
we are all emotional people.
No.
It's workplace boundaries,
Yes.
Jeremy.
Know your boundaries. And that's his problem. He doesn't. Thanks, Dino, and thanks, what's your name?
Darren.
Oh, yeah, Darren. Yeah.
you added nothing to that conversation.
But
but
I will tell you, though, that Darren did get to speak to Mourinho last night, which I'm very impressed with, Darren.
Yep.
And that video's on the website,
And
98fm.com.
how did the pint go afterwards?
We're good
Oh, no, he
friends.
just got up and left,
no,
didn't he?
we're friends.
Oh, you're good
He asked for
friends.
my number.
Good luck. Thanks, both of you. Text or WhatsApp us right now on 0877 98 98 98.
emotionally devoid.
Is
That's
it
what I
ever
would say.
appropriate to be hugging work colleagues? Now, I said this to you earlier on. It's just not. Handshakes are for the workplace. Hugs are for your family. And that's the bottom line.
You see, Billy has commented on us on Facebook, and she says, "It's a hug, lads. You're getting a bit too deep." Not literally, she means as in...
No, I know.
As in you're looking into this too much. Adrian, a hug never leads to sex.
It does if you're with your partner.
Really? Is that how you kick it off in your house?
Yeah.
Really?
Text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. Is hugging a work colleague acceptable? That's the question that we're
There's a
asking.
girl
you.
up on the next floor in our building who I'm quite good friends with. You know the girl. Don't mention her name now because I'm terrified
Which
of her
one?
fella.
There's about 10 of them
I
up
know,
there.
but I'm terrified of her fella. Terrified of him. He's a monster of a man. Anyway, I gave her a hug. I hadn't seen her in a couple of days, and we hadn't crossed paths. And I met her yesterday at her desk. And the first thing I did was, and I did it without even thinking, I went up and I gave her a hug and I said, "How are you, hon?"
It's like men shouldn't use the word hun either. Do you mind me saying that?
Oh my God.
Seriously, you freak. Hiya, hun, and giving her a hug.
What's your opinion on this? Text us now. 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Is it appropriate to hug a work colleague of the opposite sex? Adrian, you're giving out about me going for lunch with members of the opposite sex. You go for lunch with our Katie, who's the researcher on the show.
And?
She's of the opposite sex.
We actually, pardon me?
Oh, is she?
She's the deputy producer, actually, for starters. But secondly, but Katie and I work very close together. We work on the same show. The three of us do. You, me and Katie. So we're a close team. But we're friends as well.
But so
what?
So it's impossible that you could have an affair with her because you work on the same team? That's ridiculous.
No, it's not, no.
But you're saying it's more likely that if I'm going to have an affair, I would have an affair with someone I don't work with.
That you can keep hidden. Yeah.
You can't keep Katie hidden, that's for sure.
Text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. Is it ever appropriate to hug a work colleague?
And what's this survey saying? Just give it to me again.
30-something percent, 33% thought that hugging clients and colleagues at work was unacceptable.
Well, I think the world would be a lot better place, and I think the workplace would be a lot better place if people actually hugged. A hug is nothing, okay? A hug is not intimate. There's nothing sexual about a hug. I hug my auntie, for God's sake. I hug lots of people. I was hugged were you ever hugged as a child?
You know your auntie.
Were you ever hugged as a child?
Of course I was hugged as a child.
When was the last time you saw your mother?
Last week.
Did you hug her when you saw her?
I did indeed, yeah.
I wouldn't have thought your mother. Now I know your mother very. She's not the huggable type.
Oh, she is, yeah.
She's quite cold.
No,
she
really?
is.
You say that to me, mother?
Yeah, I bumped into her there a couple of weeks
she
ago.
said hello to you, didn't she?
I know, but it was frosty. It was a frosty reception.
Really?
Yeah,
God, she said it was great to see him.
I didn't think that conversation went well at all.
Is it because she didn't give you a hug?
She was very cold with me. I hadn't seen the woman in about 5 years.
Yeah.
And she just came up to me and said, "Oh, hello, Jeremy." That's what she said.
That's what you inspire out of people, I hate to tell you. Anyway,
we want to hear your thoughts on it. 0877 98 98 98. Or you can call us on 6797 981. Is it appropriate or inappropriate to hug a work colleague? Now, something else that's in the news today, and I know you had an issue about this, Adrian, was of course the match last night in the Aviva Stadium, where Manchester United in their pre-season match decided to come over and play a friendly. And by all accounts, it was a great match, but it was also sold out. Isn't that correct?
It was wall to wall. You couldn't get a seat in the Aviva for love nor money. But a load of people went on a rampage on social media last night.
Now, can I just say, the Aviva wasn't full with Sampdoria fans. I don't know anybody that follows Sampdoria.
No, nor do I.
It was
I couldn't even remember the team they were playing.
It was all Manchester United fans, and if you were around by the Aviva yesterday, it was a sea of red jerseys. And I kind of agree with the point that Adrian was making. Adrian made a point to me earlier on today in the office, and
he said, got around to making it yet. Would you let me make it?
Very, very cold, like your mother.
People were going ballistic last night on social. I wasn't at the match, but I was looking at social media reaction from people going mad, saying that Irish people are traitors. How dare you attend a match in the Aviva and pack out the ground when you wouldn't even bother your arse going to an FAI Cup final. Basically, people were giving out about people supporting teams like Manchester United, and they couldn't be arsed supporting any one of the teams here in Dublin, for example.
So the question that Adrian is kind of asking is, how come when Manchester United play in the Aviva, the place is full, but if St. Pat's were playing Shamrock Rovers next week, none of these kids would go to see it?
Yeah, 5,000 of them might.
Why aren't we supporting our own?
Well, that's what people were going mad about on basically people who weren't at the match, or who aren't United supporters, were on social media last night calling them traitors. How dare you not support our own when you support the Brits, and blah 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 blah. And I want to find out why League of Ireland just doesn't get that sort of support that Manchester United, an FAI Cup final wouldn't be as...
Okay, let's put it to the listeners.
Yeah.
You answered the question for us, okay? Here's the question. Why was the Aviva Stadium full to the rafters for a Manchester United match, yet if it was two Irish teams playing, there wouldn't be a sinner in the place?
No, there would be people at it, but certainly not a full Aviva.
But like, how many kids in Dublin own a St. Pat's football jersey?
Yep, that's the question. Yep.
And I mean, you go into any of the sports stores... name them.
Elvery's, Lifestyle.
Elvery's, JD Sports, whatever. You very rarely see Irish jerseys for sale, but you see Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester United jerseys for sale.
Yep.
And we're kind of not supporting our own. We claim to be this big patriotic country, down with the Brits and all that, and support your own. I mean, that's what people always say when we talk about bringing in refugees into the country. What do people always say?
Look after our own first.
Look after our own first. Yet you're not looking after your own. You support a foreign team...
and a foreign league.
And you don't support your own. So what Adrian is basically saying is, if you went to the Aviva for that match, you were scum and you were a traitor. Thank you very.
I'd love to hear from you on this on 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Why was it possible to sell out the Aviva Stadium for a Manchester United versus some club from Italy that I never heard of?
Sampdoria. They're a big team, actually.
A friendly match. Wasn't even in a competitive match, a pre-season match. It was possible to sell out the Aviva, yet if two Dublin teams were playing in a derby match, even in the league final, you wouldn't have that many people crammed into the Aviva Stadium.
No, I believe from reports I've heard, there was about 40,000 people in the Aviva last night.
Yeah, it was packed.
That's a whopper. That's a whopper crowd. Where are they every single other day of the week when Irish teams are playing? Does anybody have the answer? Is it because League of Ireland football is boring and crap? And that's not me saying it, but it's you saying it because you don't go to the matches. Somebody is saying, I watched the match and there was nowhere near a full stadium. Well, the photographs I saw looked absolutely packed. Did it not?
It did, yep. We'd love to hear from you. 6797 981 will get you straight through. We'll take a quick break and we'll take your calls in just a moment.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Mattress Express at Des Kelly Interiors, Long Mile Road. Because sleep shouldn't have to wait. 98 FM.
Good morning, Dublin. Thursday, August 3rd, 2017. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy. We're with you until midday today. Now, I've just been told by our sports department that match last night was a sellout. I knew it was. I knew tickets were hard to come by. The Liverpool match on Saturday, is that going to be a sellout?
Probably, yeah. Probably as well, yeah. We're looking for answers, basically. We're trying to find out why the Aviva can sell out when it's Manchester United versus Sampdoria, yet if it was St. Pat's versus Rovers, you wouldn't get a sinner in the place.
Exactly. LOI, League of Ireland is crap. I'm going to the Aviva on Saturday to see Liverpool. Looking forward to it, says Pat. And then another one says, the quality of football in the Airtricity League is just nothing in comparison to the Premier League. Simple as. And any outstanding player in the Irish League is quickly snapped up by the English League. Maybe that's why.
But we appear to be the only country that doesn't support our own football league. I mean, you go to Italy, yeah? You won't get Italians going over to England to watch English matches. You go to Spain. They all support La Liga. They don't go. You won't get Spanish people going over to London to watch Arsenal playing because they support their own.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. Darren, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Darren?
Hiya, mate. Fine, thanks.
Darren, your point on this is people should follow League of Ireland.
Well, sure. It's like support your own, mate, isn't it? I mean, completing other hypocrites is the way I see it. Like, you know, I mean, like I since I moved over, you know, like I've been following St. Pat's and that, you know, but you know, regarding the football, like a lot of it is the facilities, like, you know, and you know, like they just haven't got hope in hell of attracting the supporters in, like, you know, with the current facilities and that. But then I say a lot of that does come. So okay,
you're English, obviously.
I am, mate, yeah.
And you're a little bit surprised by the lack of support that we have ourselves for our own league.
Of course. And then, like I say, like that text message there, League of Ireland crap. Do you get what I mean? Like that does no favours on that, and you know, like they'll be cheering on Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, and Chelsea, and then they'll be hating the English. Like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I've never really understood it. Where, like we said, a packed stadium last night to see Manchester United and Sampdoria. It'll be a packed stadium on Saturday for Liverpool, and who are they playing? Athletic Bilbao or
something like that?
One of them. That'll be packed as well.
I mean, there's a message.
But sorry, his point is, if England were playing football, let's say the England team were playing a friendly with all the same bloody players on the teams, nobody would go to the match. That's the hypocrisy of it.
Of course, yeah. But like I say, I mean, you know, like the facilities and that aren't exactly encouraging, you know, to get the lads through the gates and that. I mean, you know, like you've practically got to pay, but the clubs have practically got to pay, you know, more than what they do in prize fees at the end of the season to enter the league alone.
Okay, have you been to a League of Ireland match?
I have, mate. Yeah.
And What did you
Go
think
on,
of the
Frank.
stand?
He's already said he started supporting St. Pat's
Yeah,
when
but
he came over here.
what do you think? But that doesn't mean he's supporting and going to matches. Do you regularly go to matches?
I do, mate. I do, yeah. And
Well, there you go.
I've followed them in Europe as well, like, you know.
Now, just listen to this for a second.
There you go.
An English fella living here in Dublin, supporting St. Pat's
When our own won't.
That's embarrassing. That's actually very embarrassing, had the truth be known.
And what football team do you support in England?
I was following Man United for ages and ages, and then when the Glazers come in, that was it. I knocked it on the head, mate. You know, so.
You see, a lot of people would say, Darren, that you can't compare the atmosphere of Old Trafford on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock to the atmosphere of, say, the Carlisle grounds in Bray on a Sunday. You just can't compare the two.
No. Like of course you can't. But you know, but it's like to me, it's just, you know, like real football, as in you know, like the commitment's there. You know, there's no prima donnas. There's no BS really. Do you get what I mean? Like.
But is comparing English football to Irish football like comparing a fillet steak to a frozen burger?
Of course.
No, it is.
That's the thing.
Like you look at some of the players who have come home, and you think to yourself, how did they make it in the first place? You know, because there'd be nothing about them really. You know, but they obviously had something once upon a time. Now, whether it was money or whatever that got in the way of things, you know, and just completely wrecked their heads and boosted up their egos, that's why they're back home, like, you know. But like I say, I've got the utmost respect for them, you know.
Let me read out a few more texts. No money in the game here, but sure, that's a vicious circle. If nobody goes, that's how there's no money in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
If they've no, gate receipts, they're not going to make money. They're not going to be able to buy players, and it becomes a vicious circle. And we're trapped in that vicious circle here. Anyway, no money in the game. Shite football, shite grounds, rubbish jerseys, scumbags smoking drugs and drinking cans at the games. The negative list is endless.
I would say to that person that texted, you've probably never been at a game. I mean, I've never been at a League of Ireland game. Have you?
I thought you used to go when you were a kid.
And when I was a kid, yeah, but I used to go to Shamrock Rovers because I lived beside their ground when they were in Milltown. Yeah. And I went with my dad many's a time. But in recent years,
I haven't.
Absolutely not, because what I've been to matches over in the UK, and it's a brilliant day.
Raymond, your point on this is that League of Ireland soccer is ignored while the GAA gets everything.
Yeah, I mean, the GAA in Ireland is well supported, well run, and so is the rugby. I mean, you look at clubs and teams, you know, I mean, soccer doesn't get a look in compared to them, because you look at the facilities of GAA, I mean, the Croke Park pub.
Raymond, this is the point I was making a second ago. This is the vicious circle that I'm talking about. The reason the GAA does so well is because people actually support it. People get out and support their local club and their local county.
It's just the facilities. You look at local clubs.
Hang on. I've been in some local clubs that are very run down, and you know, the reason it all comes from public support.
And the rugby as well. That's much better support as opposed to the.
That's only a relatively recent phenomenon that rugby is getting the support, probably because of the success of the provinces and the success of the national team. That becomes a snowball effect where Irish soccer gets support when the international team does well, but that's about it, isn't it?
Oh yeah, well the international team is very well supported. Like, I was there in Poland for a couple of games, and our support is just phenomenal.
No, hang on. No, I have to stop you there, Raymond. I have to stop you there. Irish football fans are fair weather supporters. They're the worst supporters ever.
Why? I think the exact opposite.
No, they will only go to games that are huge games. When we qualify for the Euros or the World Cup.
MMA, soccer, golf, rugby, we're great supporters in all sports. We're probably the best in the world, not only soccer, but boxing and rugby and MMA as well.
But sorry, to go back to your point, your initial point, the reason League of Ireland soccer isn't getting the support that it deserves is because the GAA gets all the support, but that's all down to the fact that people want to support the GAA and go to matches and everything else.
It's got a much better appeal, like in Ireland, you know, so it does. It's a national sport.
And do you follow any League of Ireland club?
I don't follow the League of Ireland. I watched Dundalk on the telly, so I did, against Rosenborg recently, and it was a missed opportunity for them. So
It was, yes.
Yeah. But the atmosphere, that game was limited.
Would
now,
you ever
I have
go
to
to
say.
a match?
No, I haven't been to a match. I've been to Republic of Ireland soccer
Have you?
matches, many of them.
Okay, you've been to a Republic of Ireland match. Have you
Yeah.
been to a GA match?
Oh yeah, I saw
there you go.
Mead, my local county, and then
You
Kilmaine
see,
are my
there you
local
go.
club.
You've just proven the point as to why League of Ireland soccer isn't doing as well as it should. Because you've gone to GA matches, but you haven't gone to a League of Ireland match.
I know, but you cannot compare, Adrian. Okay, at the end of the day, you shouldn't have to support your own just because it's like people say, oh, you should support you too because they're Irish. Okay, that's bullshit. Just because you're Irish, should you have to support Irish football? I mean, I've watched it a lot on
But
television.
It's a little bit embarrassing when you have an Englishman coming over to Ireland and ending up supporting a Dublin football club.
But like, I watch EastEnders. I wouldn't watch Fair City if you put a gun to my head and forced me to watch it.
Jason, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Jason?
All right, Adrian.
Good, Jason. What do you want to say?
I think you're being a bit naive, Adrian, thinking that the gate receipts is what has football, as what has the GA the way it is.
No, not the GA.
Well,
Oh, no, sorry. Well, I did say that. Yes, I did say that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the reason why the Premiership is the way it is now, in 1992, when Sky came in, the money that they gave the Premier League is what has it the way it is. Before that, it was going into decline. The Division 1 was going into decline. People weren't going to games. People weren't watching it. It was going, and Sky came along with our multi-millions of euro and glitzed it up. And now it's what it is today. That's not being done in Ireland with the FAI.
But
It's been done with the GA to some extent.
It has to some extent, yeah.
Okay, lads, why does Sky Sports not show League of Ireland matches?
Why does Sky? Well, the Sky Sports actually pay the League of Ireland clubs. Did you know that?
No, but why don't they? Why don't Sky Sports make a deal to try and buy all the rights to the League of Ireland matches? Why don't they do that?
There's no interest because they believe
genuinely
there's no
don't know.
interest.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you.
But yet Sky have bought into the championship, the hurling and the football championship, much to the annoyance of a lot of people because it takes some of the matches off RTE. But that is pumping money back into the GA because people want to see it. That's the difference, Jason.
Well, I'm glad Sky have done that. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad Sky have done that, and I'm glad they did it with the Premiership as well, made it what it is today.
It's like Jason. I know it's a slightly different issue, but it's like the women's World Cup or the European Championships was on last week or whatever, and not a word about it.
I didn't know that.
No, I happened to come across one of the games last week. England were playing Germany, I think, or something like that, and the stadium was half empty. Because at the end of the day, Adrian, people will choose what they want to watch, and if people don't want to watch women playing football, which they clearly don't, nobody has an interest in female football.
Yeah.
And similarly, nobody has an interest in watching League of Ireland bar the big matches.
And you can't force somebody to like. It's like me trying to force my young fella to eat broccoli. He doesn't really like broccoli. There's no point in me forcing broccoli into him because he just doesn't like it. So what I'm saying is, League of Ireland football is
like broccoli.
It's like broccoli. Not a lot of people like it. Who likes broccoli? Do you know anybody that likes broccoli?
Final call on this, James. You're on 98 FM. How are you, James?
Well, lads,
James, you believe this is all down to the FAI?
I do, yeah. Look, if you look at the FA in the UK, right, they contribute so much towards the game over there, and the FA.
Yeah, but sorry, James. I will argue that they can afford to because much more people, even per head of population, attend football matches.
Look, the FAI can afford it as well, but now they're talking about putting young kids into the League of Ireland from under 12s, 13s and 14s in a League of Ireland league to get them away from the grassroots league. That's what they're talking about doing now.
You see, you're blaming the FAI and all that. The FAI...
That is the FAI.
James, the FAI can't drag people into the stadiums every week.
But they can help the stadiums out. As one of the lads said, look, stadiums aren't the best. Probably the best stadium in Ireland here would be probably Shamrock Rovers. You mean Talcott Park? I support Shells, but I haven't been to a game in ages either. But Talcott Park is run down.
It is.
But kids don't. Say for instance, I'm just giving you an example, James. I'll finish up with this. My cousin, 12 years of age, loves football, and he's always going on wanting to go to England to watch a game. And we turned around to him a couple of weeks ago and we said, we'll bring you out to Shamrock Rovers, out to Tala. Absolutely no interest. You know what his reply was?
What was it?
Who plays for Shamrock Rovers? Well, I know the players.
So it's all down to fame and fortune.
He wants to see. He wants to see Arsenal playing. He wants to see his heroes playing, and he doesn't know anybody. Hang on, James. Could you name any of the Shamrock Rovers players?
No, actually, I can't.
No. Adrian?
No.
No, there you go.
I can name pass, all right. Yeah, Robbie Keane. There you go. There's one.
But I mean, Robbie is playing at the end of his career. He'll squeeze in one more year. But, maybe that's what it's all down to. And we will never have international, world-famous football players playing in the Irish League because it's too small.
Because we're a crappy little country. When we think of it, we're the size of Luxembourg, probably. We're a small, and we have to stop thinking that we're a significant country. Ireland is insignificant. It's a pimple on the arse of the world. But it is. We have this overinflated opinion that we're this really important country. We're actually not. Are we, though? We're a small little country in the middle of the Atlantic, floating in the middle of the Atlantic. That's the fact. It is. Isn't it, though?
Proud to be Irish, or what?
No, what I'm saying is, had we not joined the EU years ago, we'd be still going around in horses and carts on bumpy roads. We would.
This is 98 FM's.
Where's your horse? Where's your cart? Can we get that pothole fixed? No, only the EU can do that for us.
This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy. We're here till midday today. Should your past haunt you for the rest of your life? We're going to be hearing a woman's very sad story in just a moment.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Mattress Express at Des Kelly Interiors, Long Mile Road. Because sleep shouldn't have to wait. 98 FM.
Good morning, Dublin. How are you today? My name is Adrian Kennedy, and this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. If you log on to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D, facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D, you will see an article that we put up earlier on. Let me read what it actually says. We want to get your opinions on this. Should child sex dolls be made available in Ireland for potential child sex offenders? Now, although the idea, this is what it says on Facebook, although the idea may seem very disturbing, supporters of the idea believe that if these perverts had access to these dolls, it may prevent them from abusing actual children. The whole idea of a rubber doll made in the image of a child, to most of us seems just grotesque. But paedophiles who use child sex dolls in a managed environment may be deterred from carrying out attacks in real life. According to the chair of the Specialist Treatment Organisation for the Prevention of Sexual Offending, they're called STOPSO. The chair of that organisation is a lady called Juliet Grayson. And she joins me on the line. Juliet is a registered psychosexual therapist, and she has said that the prescription of a child sex doll would be like giving methadone to a heroin user. And Juliet joins me on the programme. Juliet, welcome to 98 FM.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
Julia, when we posted on our Facebook page earlier on that we would be talking about this subject today, there was absolute, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, absolute revulsion at even the concept of having a child sex doll. What do you say to people whose instant reaction is that?
To be honest, my reaction is the same. It is a horrific thing to even kind of consider. And let me be really, really clear. At STOPSO, what we're aiming to do is to protect children and prevent child abuse. So that's the first thing to say. And touching a child and looking at child abuse images are illegal. I'm very clear about that. But the question is that this is such a big problem all across England and Ireland that we need to think about what's the best way to reduce the amount of sexual offending, because there's too much of it going on. And for someone who has a sexual attraction to children and is not in the least bit attracted to adults, in a very, very controlled and carefully monitored situation, I wonder whether it might be wise to use a prescription of sex dolls.
And when you say in a controlled way, does that mean that somebody who is a paedophile, who has a sexual attraction to children, might, go and see his therapist and then have sex with one of these dolls? Or how would you do that in a controlled environment?
Yeah, I'm not imagining that they do it whilst with the therapist or anything like that. But I'm imagining that alongside therapy and alongside other monitoring, so I imagine there's a thing called circles of support and accountability, which is set up for serious sex offenders when they come out of prison. And basically 5 or 7 volunteers meet with the sex offender once a week to provide normality, to talk to them about what normal sex looks like, to answer their questions, and to also monitor whether they consider that the risk that they present is escalating or is managing, whether they're managing their own risk. So there's support and accountability. It's exactly what it says. And I think if we could set up a system where people who were attracted to children, who wanted never to offend, and we're getting lots of those coming to stop, so saying, I know I have an attraction, I'm desperate never to break the law, and I need help to be able not to do that.
Okay, but if so somebody who it's an expression I don't really like, but who self-identifies as a paedophile, let's say, who admits that they have an attraction to children, admits, and in fact I've spoken to a guy called Todd Nickerson on this program, who is a self-confessed paedophile who has never acted upon it, but admits that he is attracted to children. But what you're saying is, might it not be better to make the facility of a child sex doll, to somebody like him, rather than risk him actually acting it out?
Exactly, because there's no way for him to satisfy his sexual desires apart from imagining something in his head and sorting himself out that way. But there's no other way for him to do it. So, and many of them won't want to use a sex doll. They'll say that's horrific. But a few of them might say, as an alternative, this is better than nothing. And what's great is that you're having this debate. I so applaud you for even discussing this, because it is a horrific thing to think about. And our first reaction for everybody would be, no, don't allow this. And certainly for the general public, I would say don't allow child sex dolls, because that might normalise that having sex with a child is okay.
Now, the reason this
is a very particular situation, where they're acknowledging they've got a problem and they're asking for help not to pursue that problem and not to act out with a child. If it's going to save a child from being molested, maybe that's something we should think about.
The reason this conversation has even come up of late is that there has been a marked increase in the number of people importing child sex dolls into the UK. Is that right?
Yeah. And what they're finding is that those people, when they investigate it further, usually they've looked at child abuse images or they've committed a contact offence. So it's a good way for them to catch people who have already acted out. And that's fine. That's still going to be a good way to catch people. At the moment, it's not illegal to use a doll in the UK or in Ireland.
But it's illegal to import one.
But it's illegal to import one.
And in fact, I was reading about a former primary school governor in the UK who was found guilty of importing a life-sized child sex doll from China into the UK. He's going to be sentenced in September.
Yeah.
So this is a problem. But the conversation which you've raised is your belief that a prescription of a child sex doll to a paedophile is like giving methadone to a heroin user.
And it might be a way to give them a reliable outlet for their sexual urges. We see people who try to be celibate. We've seen masses of that in various religious organisations. And we've also seen how many of them aren't successful at being celibate, even when they choose to be celibate. So, celibacy is one option, but it's not. I'm just very grateful that as a heterosexual female woman, I've got a sexual orientation that's completely legal, and I'm allowed to act it out in, any way I want and without any consequences. And if I was someone who was attracted to children, or if my son was attracted to children, because we have an online questionnaire that has one of the questions is, at what age did you first know you had a problem with your sexual behaviour or your sexual thinking? And 51% of people knew by the time they were 16, and a further 21% know by the time they're 25. So So that means 72% of sex offenders know they've got a problem by the time they're 25, and only 3% of those are coming to StopSo for therapeutic help, which is what we offer. We offer therapy in the community to anyone who feels at risk of committing a sexual offence or who has already done so. And 72% of the people coming to us are saying, I knew by the time I was 25 that I had this problem. 3% of the people coming to us are under 25. So we have a window where if we could get to people and say, let us work with you and help you find a way to have pro-social ways of satisfying your desires or to manage your desires in safe ways so you're never going to touch a child, that has to be the best way forward. Is it okay if I give the website address?
It is, of course. Yes, do, please.
www.stopso.org.uk. Or if you Google sex offender help, then we'll come up on the first or second one. So
What startled me from reading some of the articles about this subject today is, for example, some studies show that 2% of the population in the UK has strong paedophilic tendencies, and that 1 in 5 men, 20% of men, was found to be equally or more attracted to children when shown adult and child pornography. That is startling.
It is startling, isn't it? And
if I translate, and I want to put this in context for our audience, if I take that figure of 2% of the population of the UK having strong paedophilic tendencies, if I transfer that to the Republic of Ireland, and 2% of our population in the Republic of Ireland is 95,460 people here in Ireland having strong paedophilic tendencies.
Yeah.
For a small country like Ireland, 95,460 people is an awful lot of people that have strong paedophilic tendencies.
I think most people have no idea of the scale of the problem. And what's great is that you're having this discussion, we're beginning to think through what other solutions could there be than the ones that have been tried. I have so many people who I've talked to who say, I have a sexual attraction to children and I never, ever want to act on that. Please help me. I'm so glad I found you. And we need to be able to help these people to remain completely loyal.
So your argument is that rather than society shunning people like this, rather than society, completely shoving this problem under the carpet, we need to deal with people who have these tendencies head on and, if not cure them, at least give them preventative medicine, for want of a better word.
Exactly. To protect children and protect society from the devastating consequences of sexual abuse. So far, we're protecting thousands of children from being molested through the therapeutic work that we've done with people.
And your argument is, while the whole notion of a lifelike doll of a child for somebody to have sex with is abhorrent to you as well, Juliet, your argument is, if it prevents a real child being abused, then that has to be a good thing.
Absolutely. What's the most effective way for us to protect children? That's really what I'm focused on. And, at StopSo, what happens is people come to us for therapy and they pay for their own therapy, but 12% of the people coming to us can't afford to pay for their therapy. Mm-hmm. So, the other thing we need to do is find ways to raise money to be able to subsidise the people who want to never act out and can't afford it for themselves because maybe they're on benefits or they're unemployed or whatever. So, as a society needs to really take a good, long, hard look at this and change the way we think. And in a way, we should be saying to the people who come forward saying, I need help, we should be saying thank you because you're protecting children by doing that. Whereas what happens at the moment is they get
immediately shunned.
Yeah, they get shunned and vilified and, all kinds of
I have two more questions to ask you before I let you go. One is, somebody who, these 2% of the population that have strong paedophilic tendencies, do you believe that those people are curable, for want of a better word?
If I'm honest, I think it's quite complex. So there's no standard kind of answer. So there are people who seem to be born with a sexual orientation towards children in the same way that some of us are born heterosexual and some of us are born homosexual. Some of us are born with a literal sexual orientation and attraction towards children. And the research is showing that that's happening in the first and second trimester of pregnancy. So they're literally born that way. So that's one thing. Then there are people
then cure maybe is the wrong word.
So those will never be cured. But there are other people, and I think here we're on to the 1 in 5, which is a shocking statistic, isn't it? 1 in 5 men are more equally or more attracted to children than they are to adults.
When they're shown child or adult pornography, that is
and
startling.
Most of those, I think, are managing it fine, but then some event happens in their life, and that can trigger them to move over towards becoming paedophilic in their actions. So, for instance, they may have trauma in their history, and that can be violence, that can be a nasty divorce. It seems that little boys at the age of 8 or 9 are particularly vulnerable, and if there's a certain kind of trauma at that age, that can predispose someone to become paedophilic. So I suspect they're on that 1 in 5 end, and then an event catalyses it and sets it off. And with them, if we work on that trauma through therapy, then their behaviour will change. And
as opposed to being cured. Okay, now
they will be cured.
One final question. As you know, there are many critics. For example, the NSPCC said there is no evidence to support the idea that the use of so-called child sex dolls helps prevent potential users from committing contact offences against real children. Your argument is, let us at least have this debate.
Yes, I mean, there's no evidence to show it does, and there's no evidence to show that it doesn't, because no one's done the research.
Okay, so the debate has started. Juliet Grayson, the chair of stopso.org.uk, thank you very much indeed for joining us here at 98 FM.
Thanks for starting the debate, I appreciate it. Bye.
Thanks very much indeed. Okay, there we've started the debate, and we'll continue it in just a moment.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Mattress Express at Des Kelly Interiors, Longmile Road. Because sleep shouldn't have to wait. 98 FM.
Live and exclusive to Dublin's 98 FM, Monday through Friday between 10 and midday. This is Adrian Kennedy. You're with 98 FM's Dublin Talks. And Trish is here with Thursday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. A HICWA report has found that only 2 of 10 standards at the Oberstown Children Detention Campus in Lusk were compliant following an inspection in March. 2 serious risks were identified over the management of medicines and an immediate action plan issued over the administration and storing of prescribed drugs. There also continued to be a number of instances of juvenile spending prolonged periods of time locked up for behavioural issues. Anyone travelling into the city centre over the bank holiday weekend is being reminded that Lewis Cross City Works will close parts of the South Quays. Aston Quay and Burke Quay will be shut to traffic for over a week starting tomorrow to facilitate works on O'Connell Bridge. Matches in Croke Park and the Aviva Stadium will also result in extra traffic. And there's a call for developers to guarantee more affordable homes at Cherrywood or risk losing state funding. The government's agreed to spend money on land so the companies can build 8,000 units at a reasonable price. However, there's a row over how much the properties will be sold for. And now you're up to date on 98 FM.
98 FM. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Thursday morning, August 3rd, 2017. How are you this morning? My name is Adrian Kennedy and this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. We're here until midday today. By the way, if you happen to be passing a shop today, grab a copy of today's Herald, where my weekly article is in today's Herald, and lots of interesting stuff, including a follow-up on an interview that we did last week with a lady whose husband took his own life. You might recall this from the programme last week. He took his own life. On Tuesday, they should have been celebrating their wedding anniversary. But sadly, they are celebrating an anniversary, but an anniversary with a difference, his 6th anniversary of his passing. Anyway, that whole interview with Fiona is in my column in today's Herald. If you're passing a newsagent, grab a copy of it, and hopefully you'll find it a good read. It's on page 15 of today's Herald. We're in the middle of a conversation all to do with something that is very disturbing, but... and I use the word but advisedly, Here's a headline for you that a lot of people, when they hear it, just cringe at the thought of. Paedophiles could be prescribed child sex dolls to prevent real attacks, according to a lady called Juliet Grayson. We've been speaking with her just moments ago. And we're just going to take some of your reaction to this on 6797981. Aaron, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. How are you, Aaron?
Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
Good morning, Aaron. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks.
Aaron, you've heard that lady Juliet. You've heard what she had to say. And she believes that giving a prescription of a child sex doll to a paedophile would be like giving methadone to a heroin user.
Okay. Well, my point on this would be, it's not a great comparison, but if you were to give a man a life-size sex doll of a woman, would this stop him from having sexual desires for a real woman?
No, it probably wouldn't, but it might fulfill his sexual desires in the absence of a woman. And what I mean by that is it might keep him satisfied while he wasn't in a relationship, for example.
That's true, but for how long, you see? So if you give a paedophile a sex doll of a child, how long will that keep him at bay before he actually wants to go after a real child?
You see, I understand the contradictions here, but this, I mean, when I just calculated this a while ago, based on our current population in Ireland, to think that there are 95,460 people in Ireland with paedophilic tendencies who are, strong paedophilic tendencies, 95,460 people in Ireland, that shocks me. Yet when we even mention even the word paedophile, people want them castrated, locked away, blah, 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 blah. Until somebody actually offends, there's nothing really that can be done. And what I heard from her was that she has dealt with an awful lot of people who are confessing to having paedophilic tendencies but don't want to act upon them. So would a doll not prevent that?
Well, it might do in some cases, but there's no evidence to suggest it will or will not. So really there's only one way to find out, isn't there? I mean, it's better to do something than stand back and have nothing done.
So then the idea of trying one of these sex dolls surely is better than not trying, is it not?
Well, it could be, or you could be just providing somebody with an opportunity to upskill themselves in the essence that they might be nervous to do what they want to do, so you could be giving them an object to practice on.
Yeah, I get that. Stay there for a second, Aaron. Kevin, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. How are you, Kevin?
Hello.
Kevin, you're outraged by this whole concept, are you?
First of all, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Kevin?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with everything Aaron said. It basically took the words out of my mouth. Like, you're giving a potential paedophile a testing kit. And, like, basically, they're going to get fed up with that, all right? And they're going to get fed up with using it, and they're going to progress.
But if you were listening to that lady, Juliet, a while ago, she said...
If they don't want to act on their urges, okay?
Yes.
Why give them something to help them act on their urges? So what you're creating
here she is dealing with people, as you heard, who are putting their hands up and saying, this isn't good, I've sexual attraction towards children, I do not want to act upon this.
So why give them a tool to help them act on it? That's what I'm saying. If they don't want to act on it and they have the urge and they're not acting on it, why give them a tool to help them act on it? It's like, I can't even believe we're having this conversation. Sorry for swearing, but like methadone's for coke, heroin addicts coming off, okay? It doesn't always last, and then you go back. So you're giving a tool to a potential paedophile to help them maybe progress beyond that. Hello?
Yes, no, I'm listening to you. You believe that they're not talking about. They're talking about a therapist prescribing one of these dolls because.
Why should it be prescribed? Does it sound reasonable to you? It doesn't sound reasonable to me.
The whole concept.
The whole thing doesn't say it.
No, the whole concept. There's that there's even a factory somewhere in the world making these bloody things.
Exactly.
I find
So why?
I find quite abhorrent. But
Right.
excuse me, the fact is that these objects, these life-sized child sex dolls, are being imported into the UK and Ireland from places like China. It's illegal to import them, but it doesn't
And
mean
so
it's not.
should they.
Yeah, but the argument from this lady is her belief that this may act as a deterrent to real life child abuse.
Well, hang on. Okay, put it this way. If everybody who buys one is then registered as a potential paedophile when they buy one, I've no problem with it. So, how about that?
You can have a child.
No, you're not buying one of these child dolls for a laugh. There's a reason. Okay, you're a potential paedophile. You buy one, you register yourself. You get registered somewhere. I don't know how. I don't know where.
On the on the sex offenders register?
Well, okay.
When you haven't committed a sex offence.
No, I said a potential. I didn't say sex offender. I said potential. Because you're not buying these things for a joke, right? If you're buying a little kiddie doll to fiddle around, to get your own desires off it, so be it. But you get registered.
Yeah, that's a possibility, all right. And let me just bring in one last call. Jesse, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. Hiya, Jesse.
Hiya.
What did you want to say on this, Jesse?
No, I agree with the two guys there, because I think it's just like they're saying, it's like if they've been playing with one of these dolls, well, it's going to want them to go onto the real thing. And then to compare it to giving methadone to a heroin user, I mean, that's an addiction. But paedophilia is a state of mind. So, I mean, it's just...
You see, one of the arguments that I was hearing from that lady is paedophilia is a sexual preference or a sexual attraction. As opposed to a state of mind. As opposed to a state of mind. I'm sexually attracted to women. Is that a state of mind?
Well, what else is it?
And I know people don't like, heterosexuality or homosexuality being in any way compared to paedophilia. But one of the things that I did hear from that lady, Juliet, was that it is a sexual attraction. And it's a sexual attraction for which there is no legal way to satisfy your desires.
Yeah.
And she says...
I just think it sounds dangerous because the word might is coming into it a lot.
One of the things that she said was, I'm reading a quote from her, I do know of a man who had 2 children dolls. He had 2 and was very happy to use them rather than touching a child. This wasn't great, but better than nothing. What do you say to that?
Well, better than nothing, but I mean, there hasn't been enough research done, as she said herself, to know that it will work. And I think it's a big risk to, maybe giving paedophiles something to play with, and they think you are. Yeah, I hadn't intended on, ever touching any child or anything, but well, now I've tried it on a pretend one. I'd like to go on and do it to a real child.
And that is the worry, and that's the worry that I've heard from both Aaron and from Kevin. Here's another thing that Miss Grayson said. She said she did not advocate for child sex dolls to be available to the general public, and she expressed concern this could lead to people normalising the activity. In Britain, it's illegal to import a child sex doll, but interestingly, it's not illegal to own one. And she said her charity has not, so far, carried out any therapy using child sex dolls, but she did not object to trying out the practice in the future. She's just literally starting the debate on this subject. But you're saying, no, it is literally like training a paedophile how to be a paedophile.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse, thanks for...
It's almost like an instruction doll. Do you know what I mean? It's like, here, practice on this.
All right, well, it's an interesting conversation, if nothing else. Jesse, thank you very much for your call. Aaron and Kevin and all of you, thank you very much for your calls. It's an interesting conversation. And that lady wants to start the debate, and she's done exactly that. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy. We're here until midday today. Our telephone number is 6797 981. You can also text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. On the way in just a moment, should your past haunt you for the rest of your life? That's what I want to find out about. We've been contacted by a lady called Tracy. And Tracy is a 40-year-old woman who is desperate. And what I mean by that is she is desperate to get work. But part of the reason that she can't get work is because of her past. And Tracy joins me on the line now here at 98 FM. Tracy, welcome to Dublin Talks.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tracy. How are you?
I'm good.
Tracy, tell me a little bit about yourself. You're a 40-year-old woman who is desperate to get back into the workforce, but you're coming up against a bit of a brick wall. Take me back to the start of your story.
The start of my story was when I was in my 20s. Young, no kids, ended up smoking hash. Then I moved on to hash and weights. Mm-hmm. And to support my habit, I had to start selling it. It wasn't long before I got caught selling it. And I ended up in court with a 6-year suspended sentence.
Okay, so you got a 6-year suspended sentence for selling it?
For selling it, yeah.
And what age were you when that happened?
About 21, 22.
About 21 or 22, okay. So what you're saying is that you were young, you were stupid, you were naive, you started smoking hash, then moved on to weed.
Then I moved on to weed.
And eventually got caught.
I had to start selling it to feed me habit.
And were eventually brought to court and given a 6-year suspended sentence.
Suspended sentence, yeah.
You say that getting caught at the age of 22 was perhaps the best thing that ever happened to you. Why so?
The drugs and the best thing done again.
Sorry, you there?
Gave me a fright more so than anything else. I got that much of a fright that I didn't want to go to Mountjoy and my whole life be over. So I just changed my life around, moved from where I was living, where it was a rough area and harder drugs. I settled down, I had 2 kids, which beautiful, I idolised. And all I want is to give them a better life. But I'm at it applying for so many jobs, and the Garda vetting keeps coming back that I have a drug charge.
Now, well, you don't just have a drug charge, you have a drug conviction.
Sorry, I have a drug conviction.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just holding on for the rest of my life. I was young and foolish. That's nearly 18 years ago. I'm not like a serial killer, a rapist, or a person that's going to abuse people. I'm a nice, kind, genuine, decent girl.
So what sort of work are you looking for?
To be honest with you, I went for carers because I used to mind this lady and I used to do it for free because I got so close to her. And I just feel that I'm outgoing, I'm a nice person, I don't do anything wrong, I made a mistake in life. And I went for carers jobs and they all came back that me Garda vetting came back with a drug conviction on it, so they can't employ me. Now, I was told that I have the job and all, everything was all up to board.
As long as you pass the Garda vetting, yeah.
The vetting.
Now, for people who've never had to be Garda vetted, who don't understand, the way Garda vetting works is you provide all the information of everywhere you've worked and everywhere you've lived since you were a kid, nearly.
3 previous addresses you have to go by.
Yes, and
but
then
when you're young and foolish and people are saying to you, you know what I mean, keep your head high and don't get into trouble and stuff, you're young and foolish and... You know what I mean?
Sorry, Tracy, I lost you there. Say that again, please.
You're young and foolish, you don't realise this is going to hold on to you. But that was 18 years ago that happened to me. I feel like why 18 years ago, like I've stayed out of trouble for so many years. Like I'm not doing anything wrong to society. I'm a good parent. I love me 2 kids, and all I want to give them a little bit more in life by getting a job and giving them a little bit more.
And this has happened on a number of occasions. So I assume you're at the point now where you think...
I don't know what to do. I'm crying.
But I assume you're at the point now that you know if you're asked to get Garda vetted for certain jobs, that there's no point in even going for it.
Me little boy, me daughter, I went for into the school when she was younger to do games and stuff with all the kids for an hour. They invite a parent in each day.
Mm-hmm.
And with me son, I accepted. They asked me would I come over and do it with me son. And they told me then that the new thing out is Garda vetting. So that just knocked me straight back. I'm afraid to go for Garda vetting for my child's school in case it comes back about my drugs charge. I don't want people knowing. Or you know what I mean, marking me with a bad brush because of me past.
So you've now had to even pull away from any sort of involvement in your child's school?
Yeah, and I just feel it's holding me for the rest of my life. How am I meant to get work?
Or indeed any sort of voluntary work. I mean, if you're involved in a GAA club as a coach or whatever, you have to be Garda vetted.
Once his kids aren't involved or anything like that, you have to be Garda vetted. And I feel that's holding on to me for the rest of my life. I feel like breaking down, so many jobs, getting so far and getting told, you have the job, we're just waiting for your Garda vetting to come back. And smack this, the Garda vetting now, but we can't employ you.
So you've applied for several jobs in the kind of caring profession. I mean, you sound like a lovely lady, I have to say. And I know our Katie was talking to you last night.
I'm just a bit nervous about coming on the radio.
You're doing brilliant.
You know
you're doing brilliantly. But I know our Katie was talking to you last night, and she said the same thing. She said you come across as a lovely lady, but you
I don't do anybody any wrong. I just want to get out and walk and give my kids a little bit more. Maybe bring them on a little bit trips, camping and stuff with the extra few bob. That's all I want to do. I'm not a bad person. But I feel like they're marking me as being a bad person to society. Don't give that girl employment.
Now, I have to say, if this doesn't act as a warning for somebody young...
I just really put it out there for younger people. Really think about this. Because it does hold on to you for the rest of your life. That's on your record.
And your record will show up when you start trying to go on the straight and narrow and trying to do the right thing and get a proper job and earn your way through life. It comes back to haunt you. Tracy, it sounds to me like that this really has gotten on top for you lately.
Oh, it is. I'm getting very depressed and stuff about it. I may even feel it here now. All I want to do, any hours, I just want to go out and walk, keep the old mind ticking. I'm in the house cleaning constantly. There's only so much cleaning that you can do. I want to go out and walk and socialise with people, and that's all I ask for.
Well, I'm going to take a very quick break, Tracy, and I want to find out a little bit more about you and what sort of work that you'd like, and we'll see if we can get any help for you, because like we said, you sound like a genuine person.
I'm reliable, I'm honest, I'm caring. If anybody needs that and done, I'll be the first person there. I feel like because I made a mistake in life, it's holding on to me and haunting me for the rest of my life.
So just to reiterate, when you were younger, you started smoking hash, moved on to weed, then you started selling it to keep your addiction going, basically.
Yeah.
You were eventually caught for selling it, brought to court when you were 21 or 22, and was given a 6-year...
And during the process of waiting for the court, I was thinking to myself, what am I going to do? Get off that, get my life changed around, try and change, and that's what I've done.
Right, and fair play to you, and that's great to hear. So that was your one and only conviction.
Yeah.
You got a 6-year suspended sentence in court and have been not in any ounce of trouble ever since.
No.
Never touched weed or hash or anything since then?
No, nothing at all.
Very good.
Nothing at all, life around.
So that whole court experience literally woke you up?
Me. If I didn't want to end up in Mountjoy and spend a few years in there and in the wrong crowd and stuff, I've seen people dying around me from harder drugs. I got out of it early and I was delighted, and I look and I realised what road I could have went down.
Okay, and that's great. And ever since then, you've settled down. You've got kids. Everything is going well, except for trying to get work. Okay.
Yeah.
Tracy, I'm going to take a very quick break. Our telephone number is 6797981. My question to you is, firstly, does anybody have any help, practical help that they can offer to Tracy? Basically what happens is if she goes for any sort of a job in the caring professions, which she says is she's ideally suited to, as soon as a Garda vetting form gets sent in, she automatically fails it, and her drug conviction comes back every time. Sorry, Tracy, you were trying to say there?
I just feel like, is this like I'd say 10 years of holding on to somebody's record for a drug charge. Why do you not think that'd be long enough? Like, I'm not anyway abusing people or anyway like that, violent towards people. Like, I mean, there should be different lengths of time for different convictions.
Okay, stay there for a second, Tracy. 6797981 is our telephone number. Text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. Is it fair? This is the question that she's really asking, and this is what I want to discuss with you. Is it fair that a conviction from 18 years ago haunts you for the rest of your life? Or should there be a limit of, as she suggests, 10 years, for example? Because she sounds like a decent skin. She knows she made a mistake. That mistake scared the crap out of her, and as a result, she has turned her life around. But any time she applies for a job that requires Garda vetting, that drugs conviction comes back to haunt her. I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981.
The voice of the city.
98 FM's Dublin Talks.
Good morning, Dublin. It's Thursday morning. I'm Adrian. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. I'm in the middle of a conversation with a lady called Tracy. When she was younger, she's 40 now, but when she was younger, she went down the bad road than so many people do. And honestly, if this is a wake-up call for anybody young who's dabbling in crime and risking getting caught, if you do get caught and you do get convicted, it can hang around your neck for the rest of your life. Anyway, she was smoking hash, went on to smoking weed. After a while, she started selling weed to keep her addiction going. She was eventually caught, brought before the courts, and was given a 6-year suspended sentence. And that was it. Literally nothing since then. Doesn't smoke it, doesn't sell it, has had no further convictions. That one conviction was enough to scare the living daylights out of her. She says getting caught was the best thing that happened to her. She has a family now and wants to go back to work, and believes she's ideally suited to working in the caring professions. But for most jobs within the caring professions, you need to pass Garda vetting. And Tracy's one and only conviction obviously comes up when she is Garda vetted. Have you come to the realisation, Tracy, that perhaps you're not going to ever work in the caring professions, even though you know that that's what you're suited to?
That's what I feel like, but I just feel like it's wrong. I just feel like, I mean, I'm not abusing people, as I've already said. I've made one mistake in life, and it's blocking me from that. Like, as I said, I don't expect everything to be off me record straight away. But I think there should be a time limit for certain offences.
Now, when people hear of your offence and hear that you were dealing drugs by your own admission, people have a very low opinion. Well, most people, not everybody. Most people have a low opinion of drug dealers. Do you understand that?
I do understand that, but it was the best thing that I done was got a charge like that, because it would have probably ended up with me down in the dumps on harder drugs, selling harder stuff.
So it was a hard-learned lesson, but a lesson nonetheless.
Definitely, I regret everything because it's on my record for the rest of my life. I really regret it. I feel like that's just, I'm up against a brick wall now because of what I've done in my past.
Stay there for 1 second, because Eamon, you're in a very similar position.
Yeah, hey Jeremy. Listen, the reason why I rang in is because I'm just after being down at hello?
I'm listening to you. Go on.
Yeah. I just had been down in Ballyfermot police station, and they told me because I'm not a registered carer that they won't vet me. Now I want to do a bit of carers work and for low rent. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to be homeless in the next couple of weeks, and unfortunately, the lady that I am caring for at the moment, her brother is coming back from Australia, and she's going to be moving out of the house, and I've got to go as well. But she can go to a friend, but I don't have anyone. And I'm just saying, like, to be guarded vetted, you have to be an employer that's guarding vetting that particular person in order to get guarded vetting.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I mean, you lost me there. In order to be guarded vetted, you have to be what?
You have to be an employer.
Of course. Well, even down to the schools and stuff like that, principals, like, they do guard vetting. Yeah,
but Tracy, is it?
Yeah, it is indeed.
Hi, my name is Eamon. I'm just trying to think. Are you registered as a carer worker?
I'm not, but I have went for jobs. I've done the introductions, and I've been told everything is up to standard. The job is mine. If my guard of vetting comes back clear, get waiting for a few weeks. Lovely, I have the job. Go online to check my guard. I know I'll get the phone call off the employer saying, I'm very sorry, your guard of vetting came back. You have a drugs test from 1998.
Yeah, well, I can't understand how you got guard of vetting if you're not registered as a carer. Because I just had to be down the police station.
You do all the training and stuff like that. They pay for your training and stuff like that. You don't have to have like experience because
you just have to be approved to be taken on in the first place.
And then they put you through all their training.
And Eamon, what sort of conviction have you got behind you?
I don't have any convictions.
Well, how are you in the same position then?
Yeah, well, no, what I'm trying to say is because I want to do carers work, look after someone that's elderly for reduced rent, you know. Like I can only afford about 50 or 60 a week, and also looking for even a box room because I'm going to be homeless in 2 weeks. But what I'm saying is I went down to the police station because this person that I'm hoping will take me in wanted they guard the vet, and I went down to the police station and they said, look, we can't guard the vet you because you're not registered as a carer.
Okay, no, but it's not the same situation that Tracy is in. No. Tracy, I have to say, there's many people who are saying, yeah, your conviction should disappear after perhaps 10 years.
Like I don't abuse people. I'm not violent towards people. I did make mistakes in life, and I just feel like hold me for 10 years. Don't give me a job like that for 10 years if I ever employ it. But like holding it on to me for the rest of my life, I just don't know where to go or what to do now.
Okay, but let me read a message that said, she made a decision years ago to sell drugs and is now paying for it. I made a decision not to study for my leaving cert years ago, and I've accepted the fact that I'll never be a doctor. Why not get a job somewhere else in some sort of field that you won't be guarded vetted?
I've applied for so many jobs and I don't seem to be getting any reply. So, like a cleaner's jobs, any sort of job, just to get out.
Yeah, but a lot of jobs, like if you were working in a shop, chances are you're not going to be guarded vetted.
I just haven't got any replies back over the last few months.
All right, but you are starting to look for jobs that won't necessarily require guarded vetting.
Garages and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Retail or stuff like that. I'm after being trying. I went for interviews. They weren't successful. Went for cleaning jobs, applied for cleaning jobs, didn't get any word back on them. So the carer's job was mine. I was told that like the job is yours once the vetting comes back clear. 2 or 3 home care jobs I went for. They told me the job is yours once the vetting comes back because everything was up to standard. It came back, bang, you have a drugs record. We can't employ it. So
this is a message that's literally come into me right now, and I Don't know how much truth to this, and I'm going to get our research staff to look into this for us. Spent convictions bill came in last year. You can apply to have your conviction be spent after 7 years if it wasn't a custodial sentence. You're only allowed one offence. You apply in writing. So I'm looking into that because
I've rang up the vetting head office, and they told me that a drugs charge will never come off your record.
Oh, regardless.
Regardless
of whether it's
if you have other charges, you can fight it and get it off your record. But a drugs charge will never come off your record. I was told. I've been there. I've got in contact with people. Like, do you know what I mean? I just don't know where to go now. I'm hitting a brick wall because of what happened in my past. Young and foolish.
Like I said, it appears that the only sort of work you're ever going to be able to go for now is work that involves not being Garda vetted. Now there is lots of work.
If I get a job like that and somebody's willing to take me on and give me a chance, I'd be willing to take it.
We've gotten a couple of messages from a couple of people offering different types of work, and we will vet them ourselves before we if you'll excuse the pun, we'll vet them ourselves before we pass them on to you. Tracy, this is a lesson, and I know it's a lesson you're learning
for
too
younger
late.
People,
for
oh
other
my
people,
God.
yes,
Definitely.
It really is. That
when I was younger, and like people saying it to me, we know everything.
Yep.
We'll do what we think is right, and as you do when you're younger, you haven't got a head on your shoulders. But as you get older, you realise more. And then when this knocks you in the face because it comes back your vet and you have a drugs charge, you're not getting employed.
Tracy, look, all I can say to you is I wish you well. We are going to look into some of the messages that have come into us in the last while.
Oh, definitely. I would love to get employment, and I'm a very honest, decent girl that has made a mistake in life and just wants to move on and do better for my kids.
We will be in touch, Tracy, and I wish you well. You sound like a lovely lady, I have to say. Thanks very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you very much for having me on.
No bother. Thank you very much indeed. Let me read out a couple of your messages. Sorry, lad, she sounds nice and polite and all that, but you do the crime, you do the time. She accepts that. She doesn't necessarily believe it should hang around your neck like a noose for the rest of your life. She said maybe 10 years. A colleague of mine was in prison for a drugs offence. She is one of the most inspirational people I have ever met. She totally turned her life around, went to college, and is now very successful in her career. She was very honest with all of her employers, and the respect she receives because of that honesty. Everyone makes mistakes. Tell that lady to keep her head up and not be ashamed. The past is the past. If an employer can't accept that she made mistakes, are they really worth working for? The problem is that she's looking for work that requires her to be Garda vetted, and it's nothing to do with the employers. They can't take her on if she fails her Garda vetting, and the Garda vetting automatically fails because of her drugs conviction. So it's nothing to do with them not wanting her. They've actually offered her the job in a number of cases, but then when the Garda vetting form comes back from An Garda Síochána, she has failed. A number of people saying about this spent convictions after 7 years.
I have the details on it here, and I'm going to read them out to you if you'll just bear with me. It'll only take about a minute. It says, once a person with a criminal conviction has paid their debt to society, that's her, she has paid her debt, it is very much in society's interest that the offender be integrated into society as quickly as possible. However, disclosure of a criminal conviction is likely to have a negative effect on the person's employment. That's fair enough. So if you lie during an interview or to a boss about your criminal conviction, and if you say you don't have it and it turns out you do, it will affect future getting jobs. Such as entry into certain professions such as law, medicine is denied. And here's what it says. Under the Criminal Justice Spent Convictions Act of 2016, okay, so this came out last year, which came into effect in April 2016, a range of minor offences will become spent after 7 years. This means that an adult convicted of an offence covered by the Act does not have to disclose the conviction after 7 years, except in certain circumstances, okay? And then it gives a list of the different circumstances. It goes on and on and on. If anybody wants to see the details on this, citizensinformation.ie.
Can you give me just a few examples? Is there any examples of the sort of convictions that will be spent? Because she said that a drugs conviction will never be a spent conviction.
Here we go. The convictions which may be regarded as spent after 7 years are set out in the Section 5 of the Act. Okay, so here's Section 5 of the Act. All convictions in the district court for motoring offences, except convictions for dangerous driving, which are limited to a single conviction. All convictions in the district court for minor public offences. Which court was her case heard in?
I don't know. She's gone off the line.
Yeah, if we can ask Katie to ring her and ask her that. The Act does not apply to any conviction for a sexual offence or an offence that was tried in the Central Criminal Court. Okay? So I guess it depends on what court her case was heard in. That's what they're saying anyway.
All right, we'll definitely look into that. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
Now, people have taken to social media to moan about things that are overpriced, and they've come up with a list of 20 things that are basically that we're paying a lot more than we should be paying for them, okay? Now, I know you're thinking of stuff already, Adrian. Hold it there. Hold the thought, okay? So they have listed in no particular order a list of products with the highest markups. Okay, these are things that people believe that they overpay for. And here's where we want to hear from you. Text us 0877 98 98 98. Things that are completely and utterly overpriced. Adrian, you're gagging there. Tell me, what is it?
I'm gagging because of something I swallowed there.
Oh, okay, I thought you wanted to talk there. What did you swallow?
6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98.
So these are products and generally things that people believe are overpriced.
Well, give me one example.
Well, I'm going to give you one, and I don't partake in this particular thing, but I do believe that it's overpriced. They say barista-made coffee.
That's way overpriced.
Okay, no, I don't drink coffee. I wouldn't know a barista if he slapped me across the head.
The barista is the person making it for you?
Oh, I thought that was a maker coffee.
No, it's the person making it. A barista is a coffee maker.
It's the maker coffee?
No, it's the person making it for you.
They have a name?
Yeah.
Why do they need a name?
They're trained as baristas.
How? We're in Trinity College.
You get trained to be...
No, you don't. Just stop. I made a coffee for me missus there the other night. I got a cup with boiling water, scoop of Maxwell House, stirred it around, bit of milk in it.
Scum coffee.
She said it was the nicest coffee she ever had in her life.
You're not a barista.
But
anyway,
I made...
barista-made coffee is way overpriced.
Okay, how much is it for a regular-sized coffee in one of these?
I got a latte this morning for $3.50.
There's more coffee places in Dublin city centre than lampposts.
The markup on coffee is just incredibly
Well, that's
high.
what they're saying here, yeah.
$3.50 for a coffee that really should cost you about 50 cents.
So $3.50 for a coffee, and you see these assholes walking through town every day holding their coffee in their hand like they're like, sorry, who do you think you are? Oh yeah, just got a Milko Choco frappe there, and they're walking through town looking all cool. Are you saying that these people are spending over €30 a week on coffee?
A lot of them are, yeah.
You could actually buy a lifetime supply of Maxwell House for that price.
Call us right now on 6797 981. Things that are ridiculously overpriced.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Mattress Express at Des Kelly Interiors, Long Mile Road. Because sleep shouldn't have to wait. 98 FM.
Okay, chop. We've 8 minutes. 8 minutes.
But very quickly, Adrian, I take back everything I said. You were talking about baristas?
Yes.
I actually can't believe what someone just sent me. There is a barista school in Dublin.
Yeah, there you go.
A school where you go to learn to make coffee.
Yeah. Well, could you tell me the difference between a latte or a mojito? No, not a mojito. That's a completely different. Or a cappuccino.
Yeah, about $1.50.
No, but you wouldn't know how to make one.
There's a barista school in Dublin.
Yeah.
I can't deal with this.
Could you draw designs on the top of somebody's coffee?
Screaming!
Things that are way overpriced. Dave, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Dave?
Hiya, lad.
How are you, Dave? Are you well?
Things that are
not too bad.
Dave, did you ever study coffee making at the Dublin Barista School?
No, I can't say I did, no.
Well,
Nobody did. Well, no,
like, everybody knows how to make the coffee. Like, why would you have to go to school to
Lads,
make one?
It's not as simple as putting a spoon of Maxwell House in a cup.
Well, what's the difference?
Dave, I don't know how true this is. Here we go. Here's Adrian defending the baristas.
I am. Yeah. I had a cup of coffee. I had a cup of coffee this morning. It was a latte. Had a lovely little design on the top of it. It was really nice. Yeah. And it was a beautiful cup of coffee. Now, I can't get that out of an instant coffee. You just can't. It just doesn't taste the same.
Well, Dave, seemingly there's a coffee shop somewhere in Dublin. I don't know where it is, but they sell coffee beans that have basically been shat out of a monkey. Is that true?
That's actually true.
That's actually
Yeah, I've heard of that, all right.
So you actually pay extra money to go into this coffee shop and say, I want a coffee that's come out of a monkey's arse.
And I can't remember the name of it, but there is actually...
Is that actually true?
It's actually very expensive, yeah.
Does anybody know where that coffee shop is? I want to go into that coffee shop and just ask for monkey's arse coffee, please.
Anyway, what is way overpriced, Dave?
Popcorn in the cinema, lad.
Popcorn anywhere, lads. Not just the cinema. The theatre, anywhere you buy popcorn, it is stupidly overpriced.
It's crazy.
Now, do you want to know the markup? Because I have all the markups of all these different things.
Really? Well done, Jeremy.
Extensive research. Dave, do you want to know what the markup on popcorn is?
Yeah, I'd say it's about, Jesus, it's about 400% or something, is it?
No, you're way off. Come on.
What is it? How much?
Come on. Yeah, see if you know. Come on. Okay,
800%.
No, way off. In your average cinema, a medium popcorn is generally, I don't know, €5, is it?
And the rest of it,
Something like that,
Yeah. And no cinema does butter on it even anymore.
No.
Actually, the Odeon on Blanchardstown, they do butter popcorn.
I'm gone. I'm out of here. Really?
Because, honest to God, because I brought the little fellas out there, would have been about 2 months ago. We went into the cinema and I want normal popcorn or do I want the butter one?
No.
I never had the butter one.
I'm sorry, if you order popcorn that doesn't have butter on it, you're scum. Popcorn has to have butter on it.
It does.
Anyway, the markup on popcorn in your average movie theatre is 1,275%.
What?
I don't even know.
You'd get a payday loan cheaper than that.
Your average bag of popcorn to make, lads, listen to this, costs about 22 cents.
Good God.
22 cents.
So by the time you have the maize, you put it on, you heat it.
22 cents to make a bag of popcorn. Just think about that the next time you're in the cinema and you're ordering your mega meal deal or whatever you get. 22 cents.
Right. Java is a coffee company, an Irish coffee company. Yep. And they have... Java, Java. And they have Monkey's Arse coffee. Don't know what it's called. I don't think it's called Monkey's Arse coffee.
Yeah. Is it expensive or does it cost peanuts?
That wasn't even funny. Robbie, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Robbie?
I'm grand, thanks.
Good.
Chocolate. The price of like a Mars bar, a twirl bar, 145, 150, ridiculous.
Now, when I was a kid, a Mars bar was like 20p or something like that. Yeah, or 30.
Crazy. They say some of these garages make more on chocolate than they do on petrol, you know?
I bought a line bar the other day, and you know how much it cost me, Adrian?
No.
A line bar, 125.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. No, well, and do you know what else has happened? I was reading a report about this the other day, that chocolate hasn't the price of chocolate bars hasn't gotten more expensive in the last 10 years. The bars have just gotten smaller.
Yeah, the bars are smaller.
And
So
the shopkeepers have got richer.
So, yeah, well, that's true. So a bar of coffee, I've coffee in the brain here. A bar of chocolate that you bought 10 years ago for 125 is probably still 125.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's a lot smaller than it was 10 years ago.
When I went in and bought that line bar the other day and I found out it was 125, Robbie, I was roaring.
Yeah, but you tend to say, no, keep your chocolate. You walk out and you go, well, in a certain way, it's kind of good because you're not buying the chocolate.
I know. Yeah, but 125 for a line bar, I'm sorry, lads, I was roaring at the shopkeeper. Adrian!
I
was roaring!
We love you.
Adrian!
You just knocked me.
We love you.
We love you, Adrian.
Robbie.
We love you, Adrian.
Relax there, Rob. Relax. Keep your hair on.
The name of the coffee beans that are shat out of a monkey, by the way, there's a specific name on them. They are called Kopi Luwak.
Spell that for me.
Kopi.
Yeah.
Luwak. And they are a special kind of coffee bean that have been part digested by a monkey. They basically digest these coffee beans. They pass through the monkeys, and it's actually vile when you
digestive
think about it.
system.
They come out the other end, and the man with possibly the worst job in the world is his job to pick up the monkey shit. Basically, that's his job.
And pick the
what
coffee.
do you do for a living, son?
I pick coffee beans out of monkey shit.
Yeah, that's what he does.
It's a thing, though. John, you're on 98 FM. How are you, John?
How you doing, Adrian? You all right?
We're talking about coffee.
Cheapest coffee this side of the city. O'Donovan's on Pearse Street.
Oh, on the Pearse Street side of the city.
On the Pearse Street, facing Trinity College. €2, all coffees. No matter what you want, €2.
Really?
All
for
coffees.
a latte or for a cappuccino or for...
No matter what you want, €2. And I have to say, I've just finished my coffee. Finest cup of coffee around.
Yeah, I know that it's
right next door. There's a company, I won't name them, and they're charging $3.75, I think, per coffee.
Are they a company? Are they a company with a green logo?
No.
Are they a company that always gets your name wrong on the cup?
No, they're actually,
they're not the
brand
cheap one.
spanking new, and we won't name them.
I know, do name them.
Donovan's on Pearse Street are definitely the cheapest.
Oh, well, fair play.
Coffee.
Good plug for them.
I have to say.
Sorry, so Kopi Luwak. Kopi Luwak is the name of the monkey's ass coffee. Can I tell you, by the way, it is unbelievably expensive. It's like 30 quid a bag or something like that. It's really mad money.
Okay, let me read out a few more of things that have been overpriced now here. This thing has a markup of 4,000%.
Go on.
4,000%. Okay, bottled water.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Water. We're mad to be buying water.
Bottled water. It's a human right.
Yep.
And we should all have it. But yet you'll go into your shop and you'll buy a bottle of Volvic or River Rock or Evian or anything like that, and you will pay a markup of 4,000%. Fizzy drinks in restaurants and cinemas as well. Do you know how much it costs a fizzy drink, a large fizzy drink to make? 5 cents, they say here.
And can I just leave this with you to think for the day, yeah? There is a coffee that is made from weasel vomit. I don't know what that coffee is. I've had some dodgy coffees in my day, but apparently there's coffee made from weasel vomit.
I think I'm going to throw up. Do you want to drink it if I do? No, go on, you do, don't you? I'll mark it up by 1,000%.
And here's somebody who just doesn't get the whole thing about the coffee.
Yeah.
Lads, what's the big deal about the coffee beans? I eat monkey nuts all the time.
The monkey hasn't shit the beans. That is the difference. You're just not getting it. Kopi, look it up. We're not making this up. It's called Kopi Luwak or Luwak.
This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Have a great Thursday. We'll see you at 10 o'clock in the morning. Barry Dunn is on the way in just a moment. He's got some brilliant music lined up in the next hour, including these.
FM's Dublin Talks with Mattress Express at Des Kelly Interiors, Long Mile Road. Because sleep shouldn't have to wait.